Good morning, everyone. My name is Abu Obai Chaudhary. I'm a PhD student at the University of British Columbia. I have been supervised by Dr. M. Shari Alam, a professor at the University of British Columbia, and co-supervised by Dr. Muntasir Billah, an assistant professor at Lakehead University. Today, I'll give a presentation on multi-column bridge band, considering different jacketing options. My presentation is divided into 5 sections: background, objective, methodology, results, summary, and conclusions. The methodology section is divided into 5 sections: bridgeband details, details of retrofit options, finite element modeling, model validation with experimental results, and selection of ground motions. Performance-based design is highlighted in Canadian Highway Bridge Code to study the post-seismic condition of bridge. It has different concrete and steel strain limits for different performance levels. These strain limits have to be met under different hazard levels. All bridges don't meet these strain limits. Such bridges need to be retrofitted with different materials. Different researchers did performance-based design and obtained the following outcomes. Dr. Billah and Dr. Alam studied bridge piers reinforced with different shape memory alloys and proposed demonstrates in terms of drifts. Jean et al. Studied bridge piers confined with CFRP and proposed limit states in terms of ductility. Rodriguez et al. Tested 24 full-scale bridge building columns. They studied stiffness and strain degradation for increasing cyclic demand and energy dissipation evaluation, and proposed empirical expressions for equivalent viscous damping. Teherani and Michel studied 15 four-span bridges, and they found the seismic risks associated with exceeding different damage states in the columns, and proposed simplified equations for Montreal to evaluate the mean annual probability of exceeding such damage states. Lehman et al. Tested 10 1/3 scale models of spirally reinforced circular bridge columns and proposed damage states well related to longitudinal reinforcement, tensile strain, and concrete compressive strain. Pargi and Alam studied 12 seismically deficient RC circular bridge piers retrofitted with CFRP. They found that the amount of reinforcement, shear span depth ratio, and level of axial load had effects on the collapse fragility curves. Fahmy et al. Studied 109 FRP retrofitted bridge columns and specified a requirement for the recoverable and irrecoverable states of such columns. However, for existing bridges, no guideline exists that follows a performance-based approach. The objectives of this research are as follows: developing reliable numerical models for deficient reinforced concrete multi-column bridge bands retrofitted with various retrofit options, proposing performance-based damage states for those retrofit options in terms of maximum drifts, and identifying optimum intensity measure. Figure 1 shows the band used in this study. It has 8 equally spaced girders. Each girder carries a gravity load of 240 kilonewtons. Figure 2 shows column and cap beam cross sections. Based on these figures, it is clear that the column longitudinal reinforcement doesn't have enough embedment into the column base and cap beam column joint. The cap beam column joint doesn't have stirrup. The column doesn't have enough transverse reinforcement at the top and at the bottom. These are considered seismic deficiencies of this column. Even if the column cross section is rectangular, square, for this study, equivalent circular cross section was used. The diameter of the cross section was 1032 millimeters. 30 millimeter circular tie were used at 263 millimeters. 4 retrofit options, CFRP steel, concrete, and ECC jackets were used to retrofit the band, as they are readily available, economic, easy to be applied, and good in enhancing performance. The band was considered to be located in Vancouver to satisfy performance criteria of Major Road Bridge according to CSA S1619. Both CFRP and steel jackets were provided over the entire height of each column, whereas concrete and ECC jackets were provided over a length of 1.68 meter at the top and bottom of each column. Table 1 shows material properties of various retrofit options. Compressive strength of concrete was 21 MPa. Tensile strength of jacket materials are 628, 248, and 6 MPa for CFRP, steel, and ECC jackets respectively. Yield strength of rebar was 275 MPa. Ultimate compressive strain of concrete is 0.0069. Ultimate tensile strength of jacket materials are 0.01, 0.15, and 0.06 for CFRP, steel, and ECC respectively. Jacket thicknesses are 1.32 to 140 millimeters for CFRP, steel, concrete, and ECC jackets respectively. The figure 3 shows the 3D finite element model of Bridgman on Seismostat 2020. 3D inelastic beam column elements were used to model column and cap beam. This program can predict both strength and stiffness degradation, considering both material and geometric nonlinearity. Fiber modeling method was used to study the nonlinearity over the entire height of the column and across the cross section. Each fiber is considered to predict the stress strain behavior of each fiber is modeled to consider the effect of concrete to model concrete with confinement and rebar. Negato, Pinto, Mander et al., Trilinear FIB, and Han et al. Constitutive models are used for steel, concrete, CFRP, and ECC respectively. The adopted modeling technique was validated against available experimental results on bridge bend and piers. The first figure shows comparison between numerical and experimental curves for as-built bridge bend. The second figure shows comparison between experimental numerical curves for band retrofitted with CFRP. The third figure shows comparison between numerical and experimental curves for pier retrofitted with concrete. Fourth figure shows comparison between numerical and experimental curves for pier retrofitted with steel. The last figure shows comparison between numerical and experimental results for ECC pier. Based on these graphs, it is clear that the numerical model is able to predict both stiffness and strength degradation as accurately as experiment. Since Vancouver is located in Western Canada, according to NBC 2005, it is required that 3 sources should be considered: crustal, interslab, and interface. It is also required that at least 11 ground motions should be selected for each earthquake source. So in total, 33 ground motions were selected for this study. From mode analysis, periods of deficient and bands retrofitted with 4 materials were evaluated. They are shown in table 2. According to code, the period range was found to be 0.075 to 1.5 seconds. Over this period range, both response spectra of ground motions and target response spectrum are matched using Seismomatch 2020. Table 3 shows comparison of proposed damage tests for various retrofit options. 3 damage tests are considered: cracking, yielding, and crushing. Cracking is defined by cracking strain of concrete, which is obtained dividing tensile strain of concrete by modulus of elasticity of concrete. Yielding is defined by yielding strain of reinforcement, which is obtained by dividing tensile strain of reinforcement by modulus of elasticity of reinforcement. Crushing strain of concrete is considered as 0.0069. Since 3 sources of earthquakes are considered, mean drift corresponding to each damage state is evaluated first. Then largest of 3 mean drifts of 3 sources is shown in this table. For example, for CFRP, largest mean drift corresponding to cracking is 0.0617%. Based on this table, it is clear that ECC jacket showed the highest drift for cracking. For yielding, CFRP jacket showed the highest drift. For crushing, concrete jacket showed the highest drift. Table 4 shows comparison of different intensity measures for retrofitted beach band using crustal ground motions. 4 intensity measures are considered: PGA, PGP, PGD, and SA. Since the relationship between expected demand parameter and intensity measure is power, and it is expected demand parameter equals A times intensity measure to the power B. The value of A, B, beta, and zeta were evaluated using a statistical analysis.
Abu, sorry to interrupt. You have 2 minutes.
The higher the beta value is, the more practical the intensity measure is. The lower the higher the beta B value is, the more practical the intensity measure is. The lower the beta value is, more efficient the intensity measure is, and the lower the zeta value is, more proficient the intensity measure is. So for 3 types of sources, spectral acceleration is found to be the optimum intensity measure. Figure 6 shows IDA curves of bands retrofitted with different materials for crustal earthquakes. Figure 7 shows IDA curves of bands retrofitted with different materials for interslab earthquakes. Figure 8 shows IDA curves of bands retrofitted with different materials for interface earthquakes. to show the effects of different retrofit options on behavior of fitted bands for different earthquake sources. Mean IDA curves were drawn. So the first figure shows mean IDA curves for crustal earthquakes. The second figure shows mean IDA curves for interstrip earthquakes. The third figure shows mean IDA curves for interface earthquakes. Based on the first figure, it is clear that since the design spectral acceleration for Vancouver is 0.87 G, for CFRP, the drift is 1.45%. For steel, it is 1.25%. For concrete, it is 0.95%. And for for CFRP, it is 1.45%. For ECC, 1.25%. For concrete, it is 0.85%. And for steel, it is concrete is 0.95%, and for steel it is 0.85%. Similarly, to show the effects of different earthquake sources on behaviors of bands retrofitted with different materials, median IDA curves were drawn for each earthquake source. To perform performance-based design of retrofitted bridge band, both performance level and its corresponding limits must be known. As behaviors of retrofitted band and new bridge are different, dimensions of new bridge available in CSA as 16, 19 should not be used for retrofitted band. Thus, for such a band, performance-based dimensions in terms of maximum drifts were developed using IDA and have been presented. Besides, the following outcomes were also found from this study: concrete cracks in band retrofitted with ECC at the highest drift of 0.063%. So ECC jacket provides the best resistance to cracking. Longitudinal reinforcement yields in band retrofitted CFRP at the highest drift of 0.3919%. So CFRP jacket delays the yielding the most. Concrete crashes in band retrofitted with concrete at the highest drift of 4.0179%. So concrete jacket is the most effective against crashing. Band retrofitted with ECC experiences the highest drifts under crustal and interface earthquakes, whereas band retrofitted with concrete experiences the highest drift under interstrip earthquakes. Band retrofitted with CFRP, steel, ECC, and concrete face the highest drifts under interface earthquakes. Only a multi-column band of specific geometric and material properties and axial loads was used in this study, though in reality such properties and axial loads of multi-column band will vary. In the future, multi-column bands of various geometric and material properties and axial loads can be considered to study the effects of these parameters on performance-based dimensions for retrofitted bands. Still, outcomes of further study for improving dimensions can be justified against those of this study. I want to acknowledge Faculty of Applied Science at the University of British Columbia for sponsoring this research. I want to conclude my presentation here. Thank you for listening to me.
Thank you, Abu.